Hello. Hello. Mic's working, audio's working. Typically, I'll be streaming Game Maker and game on my senior capstone. But, as the title suggests, I will be doing literally an entire semester's worth of work in just this one night. Because, to me, being a senior, I'm actually taking a course that most freshmen take because for some reason I never took it until now. But yeah, to me, this is like really simple stuff, which is why I've always been putting it back. So now it's just all like, yeah, I should probably, I should probably do that because no matter how easy it is, if I don't do it, I don't graduate, and that'll be really awkward, you know. I always hate it when I always hate it when like software have their own unique browser. So I don't wanna, my god, do I just like put in desktop? Like to call it. Oh, it's good right here. Oh, I can't put in all that. Here. There we go. Select current folder. I'll make assignment. My professor for this course is actually zero. Zero what through what? I just find it. Get. I'm definitely not used to Godot. So dang, it's already crashing. I was about to say, yeah, my professor for this class is really laid back, very helpful, and a little, a little too lenient for my taste. Because the very first thing they said at the beginning of the semester is like, "Hey, you know, literally, I will take anything so long as it's so long as it's turned in before you graduate. Like literally, before the end of the semester, I'll take it in. Doesn't matter how late it is, how how little time I'll have to like grade it. If you turn it in, I'll accept it." It's like, wow, that's dang, that's kind of making me procrastinate, you know? But they've been really helpful, and especially with how cluttered my schedule has been this semester, because I've had to take like a lot of what's the word, stressful classes. Let me turn this down just a bit. Well, I guess I'll turn the mic down, or the my actual computer audio down. Because I'm technically doing 2 senior projects this semester, when most people just do 1. And then like 300 level classes, or 400 level classes. Well, I guess that's the capstone, whatever. But yeah, on paper, very difficult classes. But this class and another class, because of how lenient they've been, I've been able to stay afloat with all of them. But yeah, I need to look at the assignment real quickly. Get over here. It's my trusty to-do list. So, I don't want to show like my some here. So, look at this. Gosh darn, I picked the wrong one. Don't look at this. So yeah, I've turned in 2 out of 6 assignments. 2? 3. I turned in 3 out of 6 or 7 assignments. And it's just one where you're just supposed to import some objects, another one where you change the camera, I think. Yeah, you're supposed to like edit the camera or whatever. But then the ones I need to do is Make a project where the player can move and jump. Make a project where there's collision. A project where there is. Is the right one? Yeah. Project where there's a win and loss condition. Up to 6. Yeah, win or loss, winning or losing condition. And then an option assignment where you combine assignments, which is what I'm doing right now. And so, like, typically you would go to this class, learn about programming, the game design behind it, philosophy behind it, etc. And then it's supposed to be like just introductory class to programming or coding or game development in general. Skip most of the lectures. Completely fine. They're cool with it. But yeah, now I'm just literally doing everything in one night. So let's get to that. How do I do things? 3D scene, I know that much. And you have to connect nodes, right? This is a node-based system. Don't I have to make a root node? I guess that there actually isn't a root node itself. But I do know that you have to connect everything to a singular node. So, I'm gonna go to YouTube real quick and just look up Godot player movement. Simple as that. Six minutes. So what the? Do that.
The first 3D game can be daunting. With the additional third axis, just trying to rotate your character can be a nightmare. In this video,
I have something where multitask stream. There we go. Okay. So
you'll see how to create a third-person character that moves relative to the camera and jumps. We'll also take a look at rotating the character model towards the direction of movement. There are two physics bodies we use to move objects in 3D, rigid body and kinematic body. Rigid bodies have realistic physics. They're quick to set up, but hard to master. Kinematic bodies give you more control, and they come with handy functions ideal for third-person movement. In a new scene, we create a kinematic body with a collision shape. We've added our own animated character to the scene, but you can use any model or mesh instance instead. Two common collision shapes for characters in 3D are capsules and cylinders. Capsules have no hard edges, making your character move smoothly on slopes and corners. A character with a capsule can run up small stairs, but it also slides off platforms when standing on edges. Cylinders can stay on edges, but their movement won't be nearly as smooth on uneven terrain and stairs. I recommend a capsule to get started. They're generally easier to use. With the collision shape selected, we add a capsule shape and rotate it to fit our character. We also reduce the shape radius to 0.5 to match our character better. In 3D, you need a camera to render the game world. To make the camera follow and orbit the character, we add a spring arm node to the player with a camera child. The spring arm constrains the camera to the player at a distance. It also makes the camera collide with the world.
So, like, I feel like I'm not lost, but I feel like this is really something like this is really confusing for someone who's starting at 0. That's my guess, though. So you said, what'd you say, Magic Man? A kinematic body? I don't see it. I see the spring arm. Appreciate this class may be charged or removed in future versions. What? What meshes? I remember Godot is weird about this. What? Yeah, I remember Godot is weird about this because you have to grab it and then you have to pick the one over here. I want to use a box. Sick. How do I change the color of the box? Ah, sick. I swear there's like a simple way to just change the color. Just here. Hmm. I guess it doesn't matter, but still. Data? Yeah. Okay, so what next? Kinematic body collision shape. So you made the kinematic body, then you put the model, I guess the mesh to the body, and then overlay the character to the box. That's interesting. A child knows. So this is where we get the spring arm. Is it spring arm or spring arm 3D? I'm just gonna assume it's spring arm 3D. Then the camera. Oh, I just made it first person by accident. It's interesting. And then there is a. How do I look at? It's always frustrating using a new software for the first time. Where is it? AC before running. Yeah, sure. Debug. Can I just add a child node and just make it? Just make this the platform. This can be its own. Cool. We happy? This is interesting. Let me watch the whole video first. What's going on here?
preventing it from getting inside walls. We'll get back to setting up the spring arm later when we rotate the camera. The next step is coding the character movement. We add a script to the kinematic body node. Kinematic body gives us the move and slide with snap function.
Let's play this again. Hmm. Do I play current scene? This is strange. Do I need to refresh it? I guess I should have went to class. Is there recently edited objects? So like now, so this is weird because like it's showing me this, which I assume is what's supposed to be running. Am I supposed to click that and then play it? This is just a camera, it's not the scene. Okay, that makes more sense. But still, I'm supposed to activate it? We'll probably explain in the video.
It handles movement on slope. The spring arm constrains the camera to the player at a distance. It also makes the camera collide with the world, preventing it from getting inside walls. We'll get back to setting up the spring arm later when we rotate the camera. The next step is coding the character movement. We add a script to the kinematic body node. Kinematic body gives us the move and slide with snap function. It handles movement on slopes for us, keeping the character grounded while running.
Good. Where's the kinematic body? Yeah, this is a very interesting question. Look for the kinematic body node, but I can't find it. It's driving me insane. At this point, they should just hard code the character body appearing in search when you type. So it's character body now? Character body. Okay. So they just has no shape, sick. So yeah, they just changed the name of it, and then I need to attach this to this. Just turn it. Section change at some point. Can't reparent. What? All right, buddy. I think that's how it's supposed to be. Kinematic body. Oh no, I got it backwards. This is supposed to go in here. Oh, wait, okay. Hold on. Yeah. Let's just delete these and restart. Okay, so this completely separate. That's just the level. We'll add the character first. Sick. We had collision shape 3D. Shape box. Sick. Then he has to model, and we're just gonna make that the mesh. Box mesh. Are you two the same size? About sick. Oh, it looks like it's just a part of the character and not a part of the collision. Then he made the spring arm a child of this. And then the camera. Oh, they have the AR camera. That's sick. That's what XR means. Part of it. Now we Camera back. So weird. They did that. Instead of staying. Can we play this? I don't know why this happens though. So yeah, this should be just how it should work or how it is. Yeah. Yeah, so
Back to
now
setting up the
they
spring arm later when we rotate the camera. They add a capsule shape and rotate it to fit our character. We also reduced the shape radius to 0.5 to match our character better. In 3D, you need a camera to render the game world. To make the camera follow and orbit the character, we add a spring arm node to the player with a camera child. The spring arm constrains the camera to the player at a distance. It also makes the camera collide with the world, preventing it from getting inside walls. We'll get back to setting up the spring arm later when we rotate the camera. The next step
can't
is
believe he did something without explaining what he did. That's crazy. Says the character. Oh, so is this why I couldn't see? Man, the in-game camera. Portrait. Hmm. Hmm.
We'll get back to setting up the spring arm later when we rotate the camera. The
You
next
guys are
step
gonna see
is
me
coding the
struggle.
character movement. We add a script to the kinematic body node. Kinematic body gives us the move and slide with snap function.
Is that a script? Attach script. Sick. I need to change it. This is where I named the script, right? Valid file name is okay. Sick. I'm just calling play. Create.
Handles movement on slopes for us, keeping the character grounded while running. We start with variables for movement speed, jump strength, and gravity. The move and slide with snap function expects a velocity and a snap vector, so we define these two variables next. The snap vector points to the ground to ground our character. When jumping or falling, we turn off snapping by setting it to 0. We cache the player model and the spring arm into onReady variables. In physics process, we start by calculating the player's desired direction. To get precise inputs on controllers while supporting keyboards, we use input get action strength. The left, forward, back, right, and jump input actions are defined in the project's input map. Now, because the camera can orbit around the character, we also need to rotate the input direction. Right and jump input, we use input get action strength. The left, forward, back, right, and jump input actions are defined
Okay, sure. Hold on. He has an updated version. 3D tutorial makes smooth 3D movement. I don't need all this. So the way he worded this, I'm not sure if he's saying that like, or if they're saying they did this themselves, or if this is just automatic. And I have no idea where to go to like find this. Project settings, project tools, project settings. Okay, sick. Input map. So I would have to add this in myself. Let me see. W. What does this mean? Okay, for keyboard. All right. But like, so is there a way to keyboard keys? Okay. Did you do it? You have to do all this manually? Oh my god. It's a cool. What? Why are you a child of this? Hmm. Well, unfortunately for this project, I'm gonna get it done today. So it can be stubborn, but I'm gonna be stubborn too. This is definitely. Wait, okay, so it looks like he just named it. So this is just naming it, and then you add the key to it after. Okay, I understand now. So, and I'm guessing that he's going to call these names later. So let me just go ahead and lowercase these also. Can we increase the dead zone? That's crazy. Duplicate you? Nah. Oops. Cancel. Backward. Center. Sick. Crazy. Do these really need a dead zone? Like keyboard keys, if I remember correctly, they don't have any type of haptic feedback. I think that's the term. Say W. S. A. Right. This is the letter. I kind of doubt it. Little left. Cancel. Stop. What are you doing? Right. Okay. I think I did that. I need to copy the code. Let's get that. Okay, so it's like Unity. or at least the way this is structured. I have no idea what I'm doing. Spell export wrong. Colon equals? What the heck is that? That looks like something. I'm not gonna say what though. Why are you angry? Figure that out later. So much to do tonight, so much to do tomorrow. Save this song. It sounds familiar. Is it? Yeah, unexpected identifier exporting class body. Okay, so it has like a different. This is one of the times where like you literally just pull up either DeepSeek or ChatGPT. But I'm trying to be a good boy. I don't think there's anything wrong with using AI for like this type of stuff. Or particularly like coding in general. I feel like a lot of programmers share that sentiment. The thing is, if this doesn't even work now, what's the point of me copying it? Somewhere. I forget that Godot is open source. Or it's not like Unity where it's owned by a company. I guess people still own it. Godot, not Unity. The Godot Foundation is a legally independent organization, does not own Godot. In the past, the Godot existed as a liberal project. Software conservancy, Godot can be sold or purchased by any company. So there's a creator, or there are creators, but there's no owner. Best practices, troubleshooting, yeah, sure, 3D. Assets pipeline, export, input, sick. Navigation, I don't think that's what I want that to mean. Performance, physics, yes. Platform specific. I think that's hardware. Plugins, no. User interface, I don't think I care. Apply-oriented principles window. Object-oriented principles window. Scene organization. When you scene versus when you scripts. There's a difference. I can't I can't put on my face cam today because I'm definitely using all three monitors right now. Shooting this last transformers to detect same level. Also, it's something I don't need, input handling. Just game pads. So how about instead of all that, Godot add WASD controls. Do you guys say there's no wrong way, but do you guys say WASD or WASD? I feel like I hear it
Right, so
same amount of
W A
times, or I hear them both equally.
S D. WASD. Hi, and welcome back to my Learning Godot series. It's a beautiful day again today. Absolute lies, the weather's still terrible. What we're taking another look at is how to set up WASD for movement. By default, Godot has the up, down, left and right arrow keys for movement, but people like to use W, A, S and D. I'm just putting this together as a little refresher for myself. So I'm going to go into my Godot. It's under Godot Games. And then I'm going to just call it WASD movement example. Cool. Create an edit.
Spaces.
Now I did a version of this before where I followed the documentation and it was a
How loud is this to you guys?
little rough. Now I understand it better. I wanted to go and do it again to remind myself. Just loading up now. Right, so we've got a totally blank project file here. So let's go scene, new scene. And we'll call it other node and we'll type in character body 2D and then we'll add a child node to that by right clicking and we'll select sprite 2D and then click here, go down to load and we'll just select the icon which is loaded into Godot here already. Let's just move that down into here. Then we want to attach a script. I don't want this script. So we're just going to go to the documentation and find
Give you your own script.
8-way movement Godot.
It's actually really crazy.
And here it is. Let's just copy all of that. I'll put this link in the description of the video. Replace all of that. And then we're going to change these to say UI
That's
left,
particularly
UI
why
right,
a
UI
lot of
up,
programmers do
down.
not
And
care
I'll just
about
keep
using
using the
AI.
built-in controls
Because a lot
that
of
use the
programming
arrow
really
keys
is
to
just
find
looking
anything.
up the answer. Because what makes a programmer, oh, I didn't know like my little sprite was walking. But what makes a programmer is like being able to structure the code and not necessarily being able to code, if that makes sense. It's understanding it and then using it to your own benefit. So because of that culture of the work ethic, like you just look up the answer and it's not just knowing the answer, it's how do you put the answer together. So genuinely personally do not care about using like AI or DeepSeek for something like this, but I know my professors will, and I'm a good boy. I'll respect them for how they feel about it. So, Godot 3D movement script. As an artist, AI is terrible. Oh my god, I hate it so much. Oh my gosh, I hate it so much. Especially the Ghibli with the Ghibli, what's the word, trend that's been going around with Open AI, I think it's called. Maybe it's Sora. I forget. I thought this one like movement, but I'm pretty sure I can just like change it. Let's code the movement. We start by comparing input direction variable parties and global input object name. Physics processes. Let's get a script. Yeah, it says GD, so it should be get a script. So like, is this automatic? What I mean is, do you have to like go out of your way to change it from Godot script to C sharp, or does it simultaneously read Godot script and C sharp? I'm just asking. Oh, why is verticality or the elevation? That's interesting. Wait, no, I think it's always been that. Hasn't? Yeah, Z is usually forward and back. Never mind, I'm tripping. I think like what dislike most about generative AI, not AI in general. It's character body. And this is what I'm looking for. Pretty sure I can just change the name of that little thing right there. It likes it, so now this one. So it's just right, left, forward and back, because I didn't call it backward. I remember that was actually, I had a whole internal debate about if I should call it that or not. No, I'm falling. That's interesting, sure. I think it's because I gave it. What is that happening, huh? And so the spring is stopping it. This isn't it. The spring is stopping it from. This isn't it either. The spring is stopping it from falling, or stopping the camera from going too far away. So is that what it is? It's just that like it actually worked, but because I was falling through the level. Hmm, is this supposed to have a rigid body then? Just look up body and see what comes up. There is a rigid body. So there's character body and then rigid body. So create. What? This node has no shape, so it can't collide. So that's why it has to. No? Is it the other way around? No? Really? This node has no shape, so it can't collide or interact well. I'll just consider adding collision. Collision as a child to define its shape. Collision shape. Well, okay, well, what you want me to do now? Shape must be provided. Shape. Shape has collision shape. I already have a collision shape. What happens if I play it anyway? It's the right scene. It's the script. Hmm. Do player falls through platform. Why does my character fall through the floor? Make sure the character and floor have the correct collision layers and mass. Collision layers? So what's the difference between a collision layer and a collision mass? I'm literally doing a crash course, this is crazy. Collision... We're collision layers going to mass, hoping so I may be able to clarify if my understanding is wrong. I never really understood collisions unity and yeah. Think of it like this. Collision layer is what the body lies in. It's its little world. It just exists in that layer. Collision mass is what the object looks towards when searching for collisions. It's what it's interested in. That I don't think that's a great analogy. Okay, sure. Some examples: terrain has collision layer of 1, and players have collision mass of 1. The player is looking for terrain to collide with, and when it sees some, it stops. This actually does not help at all. Let me get someone else's explanation of that. First one yes, but the second one no. So, yeah, okay. So from what I understand, collision layer is where the node is, and collision mass is where it looks for objects to collide with. Okay, so if the player is on layer 1, and the mask is 1 and 2, it will be able to collide with all that nodes. Layer 1. Okay. Okay, that's an interesting way of doing it. It's a very interesting way of doing it. Like it is on the right layer then. With the mesh of the rigid body. Yeah, this is a pickle or pickable. I feel like I had a similar problem with a different assignment. Get through it though. We still. So yeah, this is definitely confusing because no, I feel like it would have color.
Use input get action string. The left, forward, this makes the velocity and shortly. Now we've every frame. The camera action angle course, we're developing a free and open door. The clamp function prevents the camera from to move relative to the clamp function to the look direction character with a rotating player model and camera. We're making a course to teach you and people you love how to make games from absolutely zero with
Third person. That's it.
If you're a web designer, here are 4 Wix Studio features you gotta know.
I'm a web designer. I'm not going to use Wix.
Hello everyone, in this
I'm sorry,
tutorial,
that just
I'll
made
be
me
showing how to
mad.
make a third-person controller, a good L4. Before we get started, I
There's
have a
nothing wrong with
simple
using
level set up
Wix, but
with
like
just
if you're a
a
web
wall,
designer,
a ramp, and
you
a
would
floor.
design it
They all have
yourself. You
collisions,
wouldn't
and I
use
also have
Wix.
a world environment set up. Now, it's going to create a character body 3D. We could just call
Like saying, hey, if you're a chef, you would use, I don't know, a TV dinner.
Hello everyone, in this tutorial, I'll be showing how to make a third-person controller, a good L4. Before we get started, I have a simple level set up with just a wall, a ramp, and a floor. They all have collisions, and
Let's
I
watch
also
this
have
video
a
all the way
world
through.
environment set up. Now, it's going to create a character body 3D. We could just call this player. In here, we need a few things. To start, let's create a mesh instance. We can put this as a capsule for now. Let's drag a world
It's
environment.
really frustrating when I guess it's only really frustrating for me because I'm actually starting at 0. But when they already have a level set up or a project set up,
Set up. Now it's going to create a character
it doesn't do
body 3D.
everything from
You
scratch.
could just call this player. In here, we need a few things. To start, let's create a mesh instance. We can put this as a capsule for now. Let's drag it up. I'm going to apply a material to it.
That's how you do that.
And we could just call this body mesh. So let's create a collision for that mesh. So a collision shape 3D. Going to click capsule. Drag it up. It needs to be slightly bigger than our mesh due to the camera that we're going to be setting up in a little bit. And so that we know which direction our character is facing, I have gone ahead and added 2 eyes in the front. Let's go ahead now, create a new node 3D. This will be our camera origin. Let's go and set this to kind of the top of the head here, right around here. Let's now go ahead and create a new node called a spring arm. Let's go ahead and set the spring length
I will
to
say,
about 2 and a
I
margin
think Godot's
2.5.
reliance
This will
on
help our camera
nodes
collide with the
is
ground
very
and not clip through
efficient.
walls and go closer to our player when we are colliding with other objects.
I'll say in a
so now
second.
let's attach a camera 3D to our spring arm. Let's go ahead and drag it out to be at the end of our spring arm. And now let's go ahead and set up our input map. So head over to input map. Here I have a left, right, up, down, and a quit. This is WASD and escape. Please copy these in, or if you already have them, you can use them. Now on our player, let's create a new script. Let's go ahead and control click on our camera origin to here. Let's rename this to pivot. In our ready function,
You have the
we're going to
you
go
have
ahead
that
and
code
set the
in the
input
description, buddy.
.mouse mode to input .mouse mode captured. This will capture our mouse into the window, so that way you can't go outside of it. Let's also quickly create a new export variable.
I'm not
called
like making
sensitivity.
fun of him, but
I'll
why
set
does
this
he
to
talk like
0.5
that?
for now. And in our physics process, let's create a quick check if input is action just pressed.
Like I'm trying.
Our quit function, so that way we can
I'm not trying to
escape.
make. I'm not trying to
We'll
make
get
fun of him.
tree
Genuine
dot
question.
quit. And now
I'm trying to
let's go
figure
and
out
create
like
a
it's some
new
type of
function
accent or
called
dialect.
input event. If the event is input event mouse motion, for the y-axis we will be rotating the entire character. So rotate y degrees to radians, and we'll pass in the negative event dot relative dot x times sensitivity. And for the up and down, we will rotate just the camera. So pivot
Fortunately, I don't think this is
rotate
really helping either.
x degrees to radians, and this will be the negative event dot relative dot y times sensitivity. And to make sure that the camera doesn't go over the player when we keep rotating, we will set the pivot dot rotation dot x to a clamp pivot dot rotation dot x degrees to radians to negative 90 and degrees to radians 45 degrees. So now if we press play, we can freely look around.
I
And you
think
can
it
see
works when he
when we
does it.
rotate the Y, our entire character will move. We will collide with the ground, and if I look all the way up, it will clamp to the top of the character. And since we have this pre-built character script, we just have to swap out our inputs for our left, right, up, and down to the ones that we have mapped previously. So I will just delete the UI underscore. And now if I press play, I can walk around, can walk up the ramp, and if I walk to the wall and I try to look behind it, I will clip through the wall to see the player. And obviously, if you want to ever change the distance of your camera, you can just change the spring arm length. Anyways, guys, I will be putting this into a GitHub, which will be linked in the description down below. If you have questions or comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.
At Vanguard, we believe that with goals, balance, low costs,
I think it's a good video, but it doesn't really help me. Because what I mean is, the problem isn't that I don't think these are helpful, is that I feel like, because obviously you wouldn't make a tutorial about jumping, and you go like, okay, before we talk about jumping, this is everything you need to know about Godot, and then give the tutorial about jumping. Oops. But like I will say, I did not expect there to be so much extra stuff to do before you actually get started with Godot. Yeah, I think I was saying something before all this. Oh yeah, the nodes. I was gonna say, like, I think the way Godot uses nodes is very efficient, but it definitely looks like it can get cluttered very easily. Please create a shape or search for it. The thing is, I thought I did. Yeah, and then stuff like this. Like, oh hey, there's something wrong with the collision shape. Okay, what's wrong with the collision shape? The collision shape doesn't have a shape, but isn't shape in your name? I feel like this is very rudimentary stuff for someone who actually understands this. But still. So I'm guessing he was just using an earlier version of Godot to where the character body was called player. Doesn't have a description. It just says Godot 4, and I think this is 4.4. Like I think I just downloaded it, but I think it's 4.4. 4.45? 4.4. Okay, so instead of looking up a tutorial on how to move the character, I think it would be better to look up a tutorial on how to set up Godot or how to set up a scene. Because, I don't know, when I did the first couple of assignments in class, I didn't have trouble with the camera, like everything just worked. But now when I play it, the character's falling through the level and I don't know what's going on with that. Is it because there's no light? Directional light or ambient light? I think it's directional light. Is it the spring arm? Hang on. Oh, the camera is connected to it. Whatever. Okay, everything makes sense now. So I think that's literally just because get out of here. Keep the collision map. Delete the rigid body. You need to be reversed. Then you're gone too, buddy. Falls through. Don't have collision because you don't have a rigid body. So, let's Google this. Godot. Rigid body. Parent or child? It probably doesn't matter, but I want to make sure. Alright, AI, sure. In Godot, if a rigid body is added as a child of kinematic body or another moving node, the rigid body's movement will be influenced by the parent's movement. He actually changed the phrasing. Godot. Should rigid body be parent or child? Godot is their preferred way to set up parent-child nodes, particularly do I create a rigid body with the sprite collision inside it, or a sprite with the rigid body inside that? It doesn't matter at all. I don't think a sprite will follow a rigid body that is its child. Let's create a rigid body as the parent. So rigid body is the parent. So this node here, we make the rigid body. Rigid body 3D. No, that's no shape. Can't collide. Let's try adding a collision polygon. What's wrong with collision polygon? Empty collision polygon has no effect on collision. It looks like this is something you have to actually import. Let's just get the regular one. Collision shape. What's wrong with collision shape? The shape must be provided for collision shape to function. Please create a shape resource for it. Shape. Villain. I feel like this should be automatic. Snap. See, I'm trying to work with you. You still upset? Non-uniformly scaled node will probably not function as expected. Please make it scaled uniform, same in all axes and size shape. Is there a way to just like move this? No, I don't get that part. But if it works, it works. That's all I care about. How do I stop it from falling? Six. I mean, sure. I don't feel like that. I feel like that's a very destructive workflow. Sick. Can I click on you? So we can go back here and add the spring arm since the platform works now. The body. I guess it doesn't matter which part of it it's actually on. I think it's just fine. Create a child, at the spring. So we can see it falling. Why is it doing that? Spring arm, what are you doing to make this happen to poor camera? I guess I don't really need it, but still. Yeah, it just snaps it. See what happens if I connect to the object instead. Nope. Okay. So this isn't gonna be third person. I guess darn it. Delete the camera. Hope you don't mind if I copy and paste you. Okay, sick, you don't. You can just grab all of this and make it smaller. Sure. Oh, goodness. You know, these grids definitely aren't helping. Orgonical? That's no. Yeah, just want it to be like a little bit off the ground. Just something for the player to jump on. Here. It's probably too high. I wouldn't know. There's no jump height yet. Great. Oh. It looks like it duplicated it immediately onto that node. That's strange. Is that the same thing for this? It is. Why do you do that automatically? Weirdo. I can put these in different orders. Oh, I can, sick. Name it the same thing, that's dangerous. GameMake would have had a fit. That look in game. Sick. Tuesday. I think that's alright. Ooh, whoops. Thing. Okay. Oops. Wait. How does the player land on that one? He's not. What? What is this? Not spinning. How does. Oh, does. Is the collision boxes janky? Because I copied and pasted everything? No, it looks fine. Yeah. What? So what is that about? If that if that was hard for you to tell Um, oh, the bike tab not update, whatever. If that's hard for you to tell, for some reason, oops. Despite the player being all the way over here, when I start the game, it lands on that square. It lands on that cylinder or platform. That's trippy. I don't like it. I don't like it because I don't know why that's happening. That's really the only reason. Make this object specific and not world specific. And this is I think this is one of the more frustrating things about getting into a new software, because I know there's an option that exists, but I don't even know where to begin to figure out where to find it or how I would find it. And what I'm saying is like, so the camera is pointing in this direction, and I just want to angle it downward, and to do that I'll have to like do this and then that to get the perfect angle. When in reality, I know that there's an option somewhere in this software where instead of the camera being dependent on the direction of the world, like this is symmetrical, parallel. This is parallel with this line. You guys can't see my mouse, whatever. But I wanted to like, you know, I want it to be dependent on the camera itself, not the world the camera is in. And now I see Mickey Mouse, and I'm upset. It still happens. These are strange things. And out of script now. Oh, did this? Already has the script. So why isn't it working then? God. Just follow the line, please. Yeah, Lost is not working. It's just I don't know why it's not working. Everything's red. Actually. Allow the player to be able to move and jump. Create obstacles. Synchronize audio, I think we can do that. Add extra move mechanic. I'll probably just like add like a double jump and a glide if they hold down the spacebar. I think that's really simple. Make moves react to one another via physics. I'm gonna put Because the other assignment, well, I just read it out. The other assignment said physics, so I think if I just have it so the player needs to push a block to get to a higher spot, I think that would count for that. Block, reach. Okay. Big city peaks. Sound fonts. I gotta remember to make my to-do list for tomorrow. 'Cause I gotta make sure I call the bank. Not my bank, but another bank. I don't know why, but like I feel like it should be illegal. It's not, but like my bank is Chase, and I'm trying to get a Regions bank account for my company or my studio. And I don't know why, but I feel like it's illegal to have two different bank accounts with two different companies. It's not, but somewhere in my brain is all like, nah, that's illegal, bro. Anyway, yeah, I need to call Regions Bank because I need to open up a checkings account so I can qualify for. I'll just say money. I don't feel like explaining everything. What's the section? No, I'll just read it to you. Interesting. But isn't the same thing? The same thing. Oh yeah, and then I gotta make a reflection letter or a reflection paper. Well, I think I'll actually do that after capstone, which is on Friday. So I think I'll do that Saturday. Friday's gonna be all work, and then what's the word? Relaxation. Like all this build up for a single 3 hours, and then just unwinding. Okay, so let's figure out why the script isn't working. How's the script attached? Export var speed, export var. So this says export. I'm pretty sure they got the code from, or they got, I don't know, something from somewhere that that I just don't have. Goodo. Reading movement. Simple. Ryan types it to Google. Looking at videos. I just want like a basic, I don't know, Reddit. Delete it. I don't know if this 3D character movement works. Things, I just want basic movement.
Okay.
But he doesn't.
And this guide. This guide, we're going to use Godot 4 to create a basic third-person character controller. So what we need to do is we're just going to first set up just a flat plane that our character can move around on. So I'm just going to throw in a 3D node. Let's call environment. We're going to just add a static body. Do it nicely. Let's do another node 3D. I'm going to call this one floor, not floor. We'll add a child to that, which is going to be a static body, so that's going to be solid. We'll also add a mesh instance.
So it's supposed to be a static.
Now on our mesh instance, we're just going to put a new plane mesh on. So that's going to now say basic 3D environment. Our static body, what we then want to do is add a child node to that. Just it's going to have a collision shape on it. And on that, I'm just going to do a world boundary shape. This example, you can see that's quite big. Remember, when changing the sizes of these, we want to modify our planes, the world boundary, and then we're just going to go and modify the size of our mesh just to be, say 20 meters. Let's do it by 10. No, it's not quite covering the whole area. And let's just save that scene. Let's call this, make sure, good practice. Let's call this levels. And call that one test environment, because this is what this is going to be used for. Okay, so we've got our basic environment. What I'm actually also going to add is a camera 3D onto this, and we'll just pull that back, pivot it up. Let's look at the preview mode. We can see most things there. What you might want is, say, set it up so you've got 2 viewports, and now we can actually see what the camera is.
Might have to get some coffee in a second.
When I move it around, so I can sort of go that, bring that up, pull it up, pivot down, and just, it's quite useful. Control 1, Control 2, so we can sort of pivot between what we sort of need to see. Yep, so we've got an environment we can work with. So I'm just going to save that. That's our first scene. Now, what we're going to do is create another character. So we're going to go scene, new scene. This time it's going to be an other node, and we're going to use a character body 3D.
Oh, you make a character in a different scene, so you can just put the character in the other scene.
Exclamation marks, and there's an error.
Because a scene is also, it also works like a prefab,
Add that on.
which is just like a collection of objects and etc.
Adding a collision shape. Also going to add. Let's call node 3D on this. Character model. So obviously we can import other meshes that when we design the block bench. In this case, I'm just going to make one just very quickly out of existing meshes. Body. And we will also just add a mesh, another mesh instance. Another one called visor. And what I'm going to add.
I guess that's to show what direction the player is facing. It's smart and simple. So what is this? Do I not have? Yeah. Shape. I guess I don't have a node. Wooden shape is first. Then the node. Restream just signed up for some reason. Hold on, you guys are gonna see a black screen with no sound for like 3 seconds. Probably 5, give or take. Hmm. It's definitely frustrating. I don't get that many chatters, but I like to. Hold on. Yeah, because I don't get that many chatters, but I like to try to keep up with the the rare few that text something every so often. Okay, it's fixed. Yeah, keep up, nerd. Oh my gosh. Yeah, for people like you, people like you are the reason I go the extra mile. Thank you. What's up, Gosu? I'm going through it.
There's a capsule mesh.
Just copying it. Do I have it correct? That's the player, the mesh. No, the player, the collision shape. Then the node. Oh, it's making it a child. This guy's a spring guard. Get out of here. It's meant to be above it. Then the actual mesh is part of the 3D node. Whoops. What the heck? We should a swift triumph over your obstacles, Yo Godot. A lot of people love Godot. I don't know, because I prefer Game Maker. It's so simple. Like, Game Maker is so simple to me that I prefer making my own uh, visual effects than using the actual particle system. I guess I like it just because I look at it and I just understand it. This? Oh my gosh. Like, there is a node here, and the only thing this node is supposed to do is to have everything else in it. Why? But no, a lot of people love Godot. It's a great alternative for Unity, so we respect it. That's not Unreal Engine or Unity. Man, I wish I was good at Unreal. I am terrible at Unreal.
And I'm just going to add a box mesh. And we're just going to resize this.
Where's this thing facing anyway?
Sort of out up the front. And we'll move it. Position it just so it's sort of forwards, just so we can tell which direction is facing the front. What else I want to do is go and add some materials to that. So we're just going to override default materials, create a new standard material, open that up by clicking on it, go to Albedo, and let's just make that visor black.
Totally.
And we'll do the same.
Love Unreal. It's kind of insane though. The only thing I don't like about it, I guess I can't say the only thing, but like my problem with Unreal is just the blueprints. It's really just that. I feel like that's why a lot of people love it though. Because, if you want to make something, you can just look up a blueprint and it's fine. Personally, I guess I can't really even explain it. I just know that it trips me up. Thick hat, bro.
For the body. So, new surface mesh, material. Obviously, if we do say something like block bench, we're not going to have to worry about this because we'll import those details in ourselves. And give it some nice colour that's going to stand out. Also, we can play around with the transparency if we want to. We have to change the alpha here, but then also go in and modify the transparency of the character. But we're going to leave that off for now. So there's a whole bunch of other things that we can do here. Let's actually make it talent inputs. And we're just going to save that. I'm not going to save that in the level section. Make another folder. Let's call this player, because I want to keep everything to do with player in this player folder. Just so I can compartmentalize and make things easy. Now collision shape, we haven't actually added that yet, so I'm just going to add a new capsule shape. You can sort of see that it's actually in the same position as this one here. If we wanted to actually make that collision bigger, we go into the capsule shape and modify it here. Do not change the scale, because that can cause our collisions not to work as nice as we'd hoped. So I'm actually just going to make it actually just a little bit smaller
Very, very
than
bad.
the actual body.
Just like looking
just
at
so we can
the
actually
nomenclature
modify it a little
structure
bit.
and atoms of the subject. It actually
We've
does,
got our
because
player there. What I'm then going to do
I think that's the good thing about blueprints.
is I'm actually just going to attach a script, and I'm just going to
Because
use
I don't want to lose my train of thought.
built-in.
I think that's a really good thing about blueprints is that like when I'm working in Game Maker and it's just a bajillion lines of code, even for someone who like wrote it, you have to go all the way back up, all the way back down, and keep scrolling, and you have to remember where everything is, which functions are being called at what sections, and etc. But like in blueprints, it shows you everything. Like this is connected to that, that connects to this, and then this reverts back to that, and then you can have like little sections of your blueprints in your blueprint. Like I feel like that makes everyone who has OCD really happy when they're able to organize their blueprints.
Template, the character body 3D, because that's actually got a bunch of code. So we've got our speed.
So you
we've got
just
jump
copied it
velocity,
too.
we're taking
What is
gravity
this?
from our project settings. It checks if we're on the floor. So if we're basically falling or not touching the ground, we take the gravity, multiply it by delta, which is the number of frames that have passed since this function was last run. So the physics process is the physics engine that's running over and over, and it just subtracts that from the current y velocity. So it's moving down. If UI accept and is on floor, so UI accept is basically sort of our jump. We're going to modify these and put our own bits later. Jump velocity, modify it so it jumps, moves to that sort of speed. Input direction, so we're going to read in the inputs, left, right, up, and down. So there's the arrow keys. Save them to a variable called input there, and we're going to create basically vector 3, which has our direction. So
I tell myself that like I can stay up for as long as 6 o'clock.
Dot basis. This vector 3
Doesn't mean I'm
X.
gonna stream that long,
We don't move
if I'm
it
being
on the
honest.
y-axis, but our y input, our
Just
forward
because
back,
when I'm streaming, it limits
moves
to
on the Z,
what I can
because
actually
Z,
view.
if you look
Because
in that,
sometimes I gotta look
is
at
this
like
blue
sensitive
axis
stuff.
here, so moving along this axis. We don't want it moving on the y. And normalized, just sort of, if you think of the maths, if it goes into a corner, like here, it's putting the value all the way out. So we're actually just sort of tapering it off. So it's always the same distance. So we actually move the same speed forward, back, and the angles. Because if we put forward and left, we'd actually be moving faster. We update the direction times the speed. So if the direction actually exists, we do that. Otherwise, we're going to just move it towards this location. And move and slide is what actually goes and runs it. So I've got that saved. I'm just going to go to my test environment. I'm actually going to configure this. So I'm going to go project settings, and the scene I want to run as my main scene is going to be this test environment scene. So I can go and change any of these I want. And that means when I press F5 it'll run it. If I press F6 it'll just run whatever scene I've actually got selected. So if I press F6 on the player one, we get nothing because the camera's not there. So I'm going to press F5. We've got our environment. It's pretty dark at the moment. we didn't have a player on there. So let's actually go and take our player object, we're in a player scene, and put them into our environment. Down there, let's drag them up and press F5 to run it. And still nice and dark. So what we're actually going to do is let's go and put a light on here. So we can add that to the environment by adding a child node, search for light. There are a few different types of lights. Directional is sort of like the sun. Omnidirectional is like a light bulb or candle. And spotlights and so on. So I am just going to put in just a directional light because that's good for like scene lighting. Now it's dragged it in. But if we go and move over to the light, we can see the arrow is facing over to the right, so that is the direction this light is shining. So what I'm actually going to do is we can rotate it, and if we sort of pivot down, we can see it sort of changes the light.
That's
So
very
let's go and have a
clever.
look, and then we're going to run that scene, got a bit more lighting, and if we use the arrow keys, my character is moving around. Okay, so
That script actually worked, buddy. Hey, no one just has it? How to create and move 3D character. Is this where you input the script? Dang, they just don't have the script. You expect me to copy and paste all
that
that?
is how we
Or
can
type
get
it out
a
myself?
basic character controller. Omnidirectional, it's like a light bulb or candle.
Guess it's not that much to type. What if it doesn't work? Data. How do I remove this script? I think it's still saved, but attach script. Attach script. Instant speed. Advanced. Thing is, what is something like is on floor? Like that looks like an entire function that I just don't have. Yeah, that looks like a function. So where's he providing this? Default gravity. Don't need to use semicolons. That makes me a little uncomfortable. I guess GameMaker doesn't use semicolons either. Like semicolons in GameMaker are optional, but I use it though. Says just delta. Gravity. You don't have to use curly brackets either. Feel so naked. Name's delta. still 10. Oh, it stopped, unexpected if, yeah. What? Yeah, it stopped, autofilling. I must have did something wrong. Or something it didn't like. Oh, well, I don't think this is the problem, but I definitely forgot that. Why? It's gonna be times delta. I don't know, it just started tripping. Line 13. You don't like this if? Why? What did it do? Did I forget to like break off the previous if? Oh, is it because it's not in a function? Is that why you got upset? Okay, I'm sorry. I think he really didn't put this in his comments. That's so crazy. So this is like keyboard movements. What is Vector 3 anyway? I know what it does, but I don't know what it is, if that makes sense. Or I don't know what it is specifically. Direction. There's no duplicate, that's crazy. Did it block after it unsplit? I'm just gonna assume I'm doing this right. I don't like this one either. That fine Brazilian faces Vector 3? What do you mean by that? Oh, is it capitalized? That's crazy. I don't like how I'm so used to programming, I noticed that. I don't like that. Feels like a very Stockholm Syndrome type relationship. Let's just see if this works. I doubt it will, but let's just see if it works. So it's probably because oh, it shows my graphics card. It's probably because these. If I can take a gander, I just think those are like inputs that you set up yourself. That should just be washed. Oh, I need to save it. I think I do. Still nothing. Okay, so I'm gonna have to look at I'm gonna have to look at the video specifically tailored by my professor for these assignments. It's unfortunate. I thought I would be able to just look up a tutorial, but there's a lot more going on the Godot than I just realized. Fortunately, my professor does have quote-unquote speedrun videos. Speedrun is an hour for this one, which is crazy. And this is what I meant by sensitive stuff. Because I'm gonna play the video, but there's not gonna be any sound or anything. But my professor made these videos specifically for class. And it wouldn't be right if I, displayed that for other people. Showcase that for other people. And also, last stream yesterday, I was working on my music for my capstone, for my indie game. But I'm also making music for another project. And it would really be nice if I was able to just stream that process too. But I can't. Because, like, NDA and stuff. Looks like they go through the whole thing, or go through the whole process with this. So I'm gonna save this. What did they have for? I'm gonna save this and look at some playlist. Because I told myself that this all needs to be done by Tuesday. It's Monday, so I still have a day, and I can focus on other stuff for the time being. And like legit, my capstone, I want. Hold on, let me finish this line of thought before I start talking. Yeah, so my capstone, my project that's quote unquote due Friday, what it is right now, which is essentially a tech demo, I'm proud of that. I can genuinely just not do anything for the rest of this week and still feel pretty proud about myself. I would still get an A plus. I would still, get a lot of raving applause and all this stuff. But I definitely wouldn't be satisfied about it. Trying to push forward. I guess I could talk about we could do this assignment. You guys really just want to like watch me type? I'm not really doing anything else. What else could I do? Could do Game Maker. Let me see. What's on my to-do list? Augmented reality. Techniques? What? This is already finished. Then I need to make an audio visualizer, which is probably something I'm gonna do Thursday, if not Wednesday. Capstone, yay! Could just be typing. Something like that. We can watch together. Oh, we can probably watch some Josh Drive Hayes. I was actually watching him before stream. Just pull up one of his videos as I type. Uh, oh yeah, he just uploaded this video. Well, he uploaded a couple of videos recently. Legacy of Kain Part 2. Or, yeah. Oh, was it good? Legacy of Kain, and then also worst MMO ever. I love Josh Strife. Because I was what's the word? I was introduced to him fairly strangely. How do I actually want to set this up? East the full video. Yeah. And then word is on the side. Okay. Yeah, do it like this. Yes, yeah, we're gonna chill for a sec before I actually start the video. Yeah, I remember it was around when Baldur's Gate 3 was getting very close to release. It was the last panel from Hell from Larian Studios. And they were doing this big celebration. Me as a Larian fan was very happy about their upcoming success, and I knew I was a Larian fan before a lot of people were Larian fans, and I knew they were passionate behind their games and things like that. And eventually they started doing audience questions. Because of how popular the live stream was, the chat crashed, and so they thought that they were just gonna have to do like in-person questions. And then this, excuse my French, but then this asshole's all like, "Don't worry, chat, I got you." So he pulled up his phone to read the chat questions, so he could ask the chat questions. And to me, I was all like, "Wow, this guy's really being mean to Larian, one of my favorite studios. What a jerk!" And then immediately right after that, but he's so cool. Who is this guy? And I started following all of his channels, or at least most of his channels. Yeah, really cool guy. Anyway.
This could sell out the human race to bang a hot alien. A Frenchman.
What the what? I could be watching some Josh Trapeze as I'm doing this homework. It's the final assignment, but it's the worth the most points. So I'm gonna get this out the way.
Could make a great leader, and Joss Whedon could write something without a musical episode. It truly is the greatest genre. Iconic science fiction media of the past dared to ask the questions, what if the aliens were hot? Or what if we had giant robots in Science fiction is one of the greatest genres. Anything can happen in science fiction. A long-haired scientist could sell out the human race to bang a hot alien. A Frenchman could make a great leader, and Joss Whedon could write something without a musical episode. It truly is the greatest genre. Iconic science fiction media of the past dared to ask the questions, what if the aliens were hot? Or what if we had giant robots and everyone had daddy issues? Or how much Star Wars do we really need before we all stop caring? So many years ago, some brave pioneers took the incredible scope of sci-fi and mashed it with the endless adventure of the MMO, and we got Anarchy Online, one of the first sci-fi MMOs, and it's still online today. So let's take to the stars and see if it's any good. Welcome, I'm Josh Trapeze, and this is Worst MMO Ever, a series where I play every MMO I can find in a journey to find the worst. Drop a like on the video or sub to the channel for more MMO stuff. Ring the bell for all the future notifications, and as always, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel sneak through this of one active quest at a time. And now Artian had to buy an outfit from a charity shop at the last minute, and you then have to pick a profession. Now every race and class plays very differently, but the game doesn't explain this to you, so I made a short fat martial artist. Say hello to Steven Sci-Fi-Gull. Welcome to the planet of Rubikar. We are immediately greeted with an in-game cash shop pop-up and then a daily login bonus, which despite being shown to everyone is only actually available to subscribed members. We then get some more pop-ups explaining how to move, interact.
I hope this isn't like a sensory overload for you guys.
The game is explained through a giant text dump. We are outside on a spaceport. Explosions and fire. The local NPC Rex says we need an ID card to escape this place, and my god, if only I knew the absolute mission getting this card would be, I'd have probably just thrown myself into the fire. Rex needs us to kill some malfunctioning cleaning robots, so we're given a mission or quest. You just right-click the mission in the mission list and choose Upload to Map, which places a marker on our mini-map, which itself looks like a drunk Etch-a-Sketch. You have a local map and a planetary map. So we're off to punch a Roomba to death. Behold, combat. So let's rip this band-aid off straight away. Anarchy Online is an old game. The UI, the animations, the combat systems, the endless text boxes and menus and excessive amounts of skills and behind-the-scenes numbers you need to level up to equip even the most basic of items. I know Anarchy Online players will hate me for saying that it's just a sci-fi EverQuest, but I'm going to say that. It's just a sci-fi EverQuest.
I think professionally and personally, reflection
I'm going to be very harsh to this game because people keep telling me how great their experience with it is, and they need to understand that new players, I've said this before, cannot play through their memories. We must judge things as they are now, based off the hype we have had set for us. I even found a post on the Anarchy Online subreddit asking, did they improve the solo ability of this game? And the top answer really sums up the vibe that Anarchy wants to give. You have to form a group and play it like an RPG. The game is best played with AO Sharp, a multi-box game where you can learn .NET framework and the automation and multiple account management that needs. Anarchy Online comes from the period where MMOs were virtual hangout hubs first and a game second. They provide challenging experiences designed to be taken on with a group, and deep customization, which is so deep it's overwhelming for new players or people used to modern MMORPGs. And I want to take a moment to push back against the "it's so deep" argument everyone keeps making. The systems are so deep, the combat is so deep, the group composition is so deep, the Mariana Trench is deeper than the center part park's water park, but I know which one I'd rather spend a weekend at and which one is more fun to get into quickly. Depth and complexity is an aspect of systems, one aspect. Other aspects include ease of access, early game impact, readability, respecking, visual overhauls, mechanical impact, and the constant fallback on, well, it gets so deep, as a positive when the depth is obscured by the terrible onboarding that a regular player will never get to see it, simply can't continue. If the depth of systems is a vital and impressive part of your game and you're using it in marketing, then front load it and be excited to show its impact early on to new players. Don't gatekeep it behind hundreds of hours of grind that most people will never do. Move around WASD. Holding right click moves the camera and character together, holding left click moves the camera independently. We've seen this before, but the character model remains locked to whichever way it was facing if you did move the camera independently, and now moves in respect to its own heading, which does take a bit of getting used to. You can zoom in and play in first person for real sci-fi immersion. I then find a long stick and some shades, and Steven Seagal is ready to Aikido his way to sci-fi glory. Rex says thanks and sends us to Marcus. Marcus says he'll give us an ID card if we can extinguish some fires. Left click the extinguisher in your inventory, then click on the fire. Be careful not to click the container the fire is on, because then you'll try to put the extinguisher into the container. Marcus then gives us the optional quest of healing some injured workers, which I do. I like optional quests, but there is an odd interaction here. To use an item on the environment, like the fire, you have to click on the item in your inventory and then the environment. But that doesn't work for NPCs. To do that, you must target the NPC and then right-click the item in your inventory. I've also leveled up. A nice flashing icon tells me that. I have 5,500 IP points to put into many skills. From one-handed or two-handed weapon skills to computer literacy to psychology. This is the depth I was talking about, but as a new player, I just click suggested distribution. Why bother engaging with systems when the game can do it for you? Now Flint Novak needs us to find a biocomputer by killing some broken worker robots, and I like how the garbage flea eats the corpse of a dead enemy. That is a lovely touch. Kill some more stuff and end up fighting this boss robot cleaner which looks like Matilda from Robot Wars. Clearly she fell on hard times after breaking up with Sir Killalot. I've also found a red bra and a muffin weapon. Truly, Steven Seagal is in his element. More quests. Give a computer bit to Alex and he sends me to Old Bill, but first we must hack a security drone, so use your minimap to find the tiny white X. Wave to bury the food vendor as you go, then right-click the droid and hack it by giving it the hacking tool and politely asking it to stick it inside itself. I then meet a group of people all protesting numbers lower than 3, apparently. Clearly they did not like the Oblivion remake. Then we chat with Immigration Officer Bill and discover the secret intel we uncovered by hacking the drone. Remember, we're doing all this to forge an ID card and leave this place. For a game called Anarchy Online, we sure do start off working for the man to get all our documents and papers in order. We crashed on a spaceport and instantly went, best help the local bureaucracy. That's the opposite of anarchy. We're then sent to kill this mobster because if we didn't, they were going to go around and murder people, and we can't have people going around murdering people. Anyway, after we've gone around and murdered people, I'm suddenly very aware of how much my character's butt wiggles. Steven Seagal isn't just bringing the cake, he is the whole bakery. We now learn about trade skills. Shift-T brings up this combination window. Combine items to make other items, however, you must place the initial items in the correct side. While A plus B may equal C, B plus A does not. I failed to create this basic robot brain because I need 9 in another electrical skill, so I level it up, make the thing, and then cannot wear it because I require a computer literacy skill of 30. I cannot put something on my shoulder because I don't know how computers work. Stan then wants us to go and steal something, and in return will give us an ID card, so we search for a machine which sells lockpicks, and then I meet Patrick. I think there's some sort of boxing pun going on here, possibly multi-boxing. He's got a box on his head, wearing boxing gloves and boxer's underwear.
I'm just
Also, his
putting down the
t-shirt
answers
says
now.
Froob, with zeros for the O's.
I'm gonna put
I've
them
said
in better
before that
in
given a
sentences
long
later.
enough timeline, MMORPG games stop taking themselves seriously and start to put in little jokes which the long-term community can appreciate, because they've had years to immerse themselves in the aesthetic of the game, and a small joke won't remove from the epic sci-fi story they've known and loved. But a brand new player, this joke character is now a major part of their early experience and makes the game's setting feel a bit goofy. I have said before, if you start to use your game as a container for jokes, by the time there are too many jokes in it, the game itself becomes a giant joke. Patrick is the death tutorial. You set your respawn point here and he kills you. I buy some armor, but I can't find a way to cross-reference what I'm hovering over with what I'm currently wearing and compare. And as each item has a lot of stats on it, this is quite the comparison. I also get a belt, but I'm not smart enough to equip it. If you give a new player a belt in the tutorial and then say, but you're too dumb to know how to wear it, I'm going to assume my character needs a soft helmet and a full-time carer. I'm meant to be a martial artist, a thing with a somewhat strong connection toward belts. What have I been doing, just skipping with them the whole time? I then get told about stealth. Go into stealth mode by pressing H. H for, hey, we need to go into stealth mode. Sneak through this stealth tutorial section, which is 2 rooms with literally no one in them and no way to ever actually be spotted, completely negating the need for stealth. Use the lockpick on a chest, get an item, bring all the items to Sarah the shopkeeper, but she's had her prototype nanotech suit stolen and we need to go and get it back. So into the underground we go. Nice touch how you can see the enemies below through the grates on the floor. Love me some vertical design in games. Run on down, take on too many enemies at once, level up just as my health runs out, so I do a celebratory backflip, then instantly die. We respawn and oh, fun! You don't respawn on full health. There are a few ways to recover health. Use the healing items we've got, which are either slow or I don't meet one of the multiple proficiency requirements to use them, despite being given them in the tutorial specifically to be used here, or use your nano skills, which I don't have yet. Or sit down, which recovers it very, very slowly. So Steven Seagal has a nice little sit down, throws on some songs from the Crystal Cave, which was an actual jazz album that he once released, and contemplates the punani as he catches his breath. Seriously, go and listen to Strut. It is an experience. Important design choice with sitting down. You must click the action button, then general, then sit. While sitting, if you press W, A, S or D to move, you will not move. You won't even begin the animation of getting back up. You must click stand first to cancel the sit. Even if you get attacked while sitting, you must click stand before you can start the process of fighting back. I then go on a little side quest to learn about nano programs, basically skills or sci-fi magic. I buy a collection of nano programs designed specifically for the martial artist, open the pack and can't use any of them except the utility skill boosting one. So I throw some IP points into nano skill, target myself, apply the boost, and the text box says, attribute boost is terminated. Now I thought this meant the passive buff was cancelled, but no, it's actually applied. It's just overwritten the previous one, which was itself, so it says that. We find the stolen nano suit on this guy and hack it out of him by hacking his face with my fists until he dies, then hack his corpse by searching it. Then Vernon teaches us how to hack using the hacker tool to hack the Omnitech, which itself is more uses of the trade skill window combinations. I learn a heal over time skill, get sent to hack some cargo manifests, hack the ever-loving hack out of them, then talk to a doctor to get the DNA imprinted on the ID chip, I assume by some kind of hacking. Shift-click this floating question mark and now learn about implants, and my god, the depth is terrific, but the onboarding is overwhelming and terrible. You have 13 different body parts like head, torso, left arm, right arm, shoulders, knees and toes, and each of them can have an implant on it. And then each specific implant can be linked to a specific skill, such as agility, strength, or hacking. And then there are 3 types of each implant: shining, bright, and faded. So we are tasked with making a leg implant for agility with a shining cluster. To do this, you need to browse the shops. Our quick shop issue: clicking on a shop brings up the shop interface. Clicking on another shop while the interface is open says, nope, you're already in a shop. It doesn't close it for you. You have to manually close and then open the next shop. So we browse the implants. One vending machine sells a basic leg implant, then another machine sells the agility cluster shiny, but there's no search function, so just scroll through everything until you find what you need. Now to build the implant, and this ended in a rather unfun issue. Use the trade skill window again to combine the leg implant with the agility shiny cluster, but as my inventory is full before I do this, the completed thing doesn't go into one of the 2 slots which is now available, it goes into my overflow item window. I don't notice this. I then try to trade the item to the quest giver to complete it, but silly me, the item is still in the overflow window. All I need to do is open the overflow window, move it to my regular inventory, now I have space, and then trade it over. So how do you manually open the item overflow window? You can't. You just straight up can't. If an important item is placed into the overflow window and you close that window, tough. But don't worry, I found a guide on how to force the game to open it, which involves filling your inventory up completely, opening a shop, attempting to sell an item to the shop while also buying 2 items, which forces the overflow window again. Oh, it's such a deep game! Admire the deep mechanics, like having to
He's so
exploit the
upset.
game's code to open an inventory window you can lose vital things in. Use the surgery machine to stick our new agility legs on, and now we're running like we've just hacked a case of power thirst into our face. Admire the speed gains, an entire 0% faster. Our quest to leave this place now takes us to bartender Laurelie, who wants us to go and find their pet bird. They've ran into the eastern desert. We get given a cookie to lure them back with. I leave the safety of the spaceport and jump into the eastern desert, then a roll cat even attacks me, and if I run back, a guard shoots it. So yes, it's just EverQuest with guns. Running into the desert, I know I've been very critical of Anarchy Online so far, and if you've got this far into the video, you probably think I dislike the game, but I do like 2 aspects. Anarchy Online has 2 overwhelmingly fantastic bits of construction. The first is the music. This game sounds amazing. Sweeping orchestral scores, funky jazz, ambient sci-fi spaceport streets,
Yeah,
or
like the
machinery
soundtrack there.
whirring in the background with the mix of modern techno. The soundtrack to Anarchy Online is probably one of the best video game soundtracks ever. Not just MMOs, all of gaming. This is top tier. The second thing Anarchy Online does fantastically, and you don't really experience this until about 15 hours in, is overall vibes, atmosphere, ambience, the feeling of just being in the world. The soundtrack is carrying a lot of this, yes, but the buildings, the NPCs, the little interactions like enemies eating the corpses of others, ships flying around in the sky, landing at spaceports, merchants moving carts, the impossible sci-fi architecture of the cities, the lovely variety in the color palette. Anarchy Online is a genuinely nice vibe to
Yeah,
exist in. From the deserts to the sewers to the spaceport to the massive megacities, the world of Rubicon feels brilliant. Gameplay and moment-to-moment mechanics, this is clunky and overwhelming, but the overall vibes of just existing within Anarchy Online, they are phenomenally good. Unfortunately, whenever you log in, the cash shop is thrust into your face, so let's take a look. You can purchase mastery canisters for all of the major skills for only 300 Funcom coins, which give massive temporary boosts, so there's no point training really. And you can also purchase a level 200 instant boost for only 3,000 coins, so leveling is optional. You know, the whole focus of the game, skip it, why not? I check how much Funcom points cost, and wouldn't you know it, every coin pack is just slightly less than what you'd need to get anything good, so you're forced to buy the larger pack, which itself is just slightly lower than the next good thing. Abusive pricing, we've seen it before. Nice one, Funcom. I expected nothing less. So now I know you can pay to skip the leveling and get to the good bit, and then just buy mastery and always be good at whatever you need to be good at. I'm left asking, why am I playing the game? There's no one else low level, I can't team up, I'm grinding for the sake of grinding, but I'm here now, so let's continue. I sit down to rest and forget to stand back up. I wonder if you can do other emotes while sat down. Turns out, yes, you can. You can scratch your ass. Or try to do a sitting backflip, which becomes this kind of sideways flail thing. God, look at the athleticism! It's like you're really watching Steven Seagal. There truly is no beginning to this man's talents. We find the lost bird pet in the desert, attack it, get attacked by another bird, and then die. So I return and try again. I give the cookie to the bird to catch her, and then return to the bartender. Jumping in the water also has a graphical issue where you're snapped back to the floor after the apex of the jump, don't know why. Can't quite remember where the bartender is, but there's a handy-dandy yellow dot on the compass pointing to your current quest objective. You can only have one active quest at a time, and now a really dumb bit. I trade with the bartender to complete her quest, which is get the bird back, and I give her the pet bird, and she says, "I don't want this." What do you mean you don't want this? This is your pet bird you sent me to get. I'm giving it back to you. Well, it turns out you have to open your trade skill combination window, combine the bird that you've got with the cage the bartender gave you to make caged bird, then give her the caged bird. She does want her pet back, but only in caged form. With all this done, we finally get a fully made ID card and can leave the starting area, but just like pre-searing Ascalon in Guild Wars 1, once you leave, you can never return. I don't know why, it's a sci-fi game with a spaceport. We could just fly back, but okay, let's go to the real game. We're welcomed by a greeting committee and some arrow banners, and just out the gate we meet Natalia, who had her handbag stolen by a thief. He ran into the subway, so I agree to help. This hub zone has all the usual sci-fi tropes: a holodeck, a garden plaza, a line of identical-looking pirouetting white-suited bald men all called Chewies something, Look, if you're a long-time player, this probably makes a lot of sense to you somehow, but a new player has just left the tutorial and sees this. They don't think, oh, what whimsy. They think, well, I guess this game is a container for wacky jokes and oddball moments now. Our handbag recovery mission sends us into the subway. Briefly chat to this BDSM-looking Borg player, then in we go. To the subway, not the Borg. I'll do that later. I tried to resist, but it was futile. We need to remember that old MMORPGs were social hangouts with novel, at the time, exciting social interaction features. They filled that niche before social media or Discord. Now, those features aren't novel, so they have to stand on their mechanical strengths alone, and Anarchy Online, well, I just hope you enjoy the subway, because you're going to be here a while. I see a few guilds in the main chat recruiting, so I think, okay, I'll join a guild, get some advice, learn from an expert, so I apply for a few. The Rimmer Alliance, but they have a waiting list. I tried Corporate Love Machine, but they say I can't be neutral, I must be Omni. And I learned that Anarchy Online is a faction battle between the Omnicorps and the clans. Basically, big businesses and wild warriors. Every NPC has mentioned this war so far, but in character creation I chose neutral, which locked me off from a few things, so no guild for me right now. I could use the cash shop to buy a faction change for 1,350 coins, but they sell those in packs of 1,200, which cost $10, so I'd need to buy at least 2 packs or a much larger one. Phantom Rebellion are also recruiting. I add a waypoint to my map and try to follow it to the recruiting station. I even PM the guild leader and he says, yep, sorry, we're not a neutral guild. I return to the subway, kill a thief, find a handbag and return it to the lady. But the game seems to have glitched and the NPC doesn't recognize it, or me. So I have to drop the quest, re-accept it, then hand it in. I go to explore the main plaza, find a line of guilds recruiting bots standing on the raised garden, all yelling, all holding signs and rocking frosted tips like it's the late 90s, the others wearing biker helmets looking like a Daft Punk tribute band. I head to the transport hub and chat to the group of players there. They're not very helpful. There's a cool map on the wall and I run into a transport pod to be whisked away to this place, the Omni Trade District. This is where those vibes kick in. I have no idea where I am, but it looks awesome and I'm kind of enjoying being here, even if I am very lost. I find this basic store, buy some sleeves, then discover I'm not agile enough to put them on, but I wasn't warned about that before I bought them. So I return to the main hub, ask if anyone has any advice, and I'm told to assign my skill points and grind the subway. I even looted a gun from a mugger in the subway earlier, but I can't equip it because I need a full auto skill of 21, an assault rifle skill of 24, and a burst skill of 19. That's 3 separate skills needed to equip a basic rusty gun I got from a basic enemy. I'm playing this for a video review, but be honest, if you were 5 hours in and told you needed 3 separate skills to equip the most basic weapon from the first enemy, would you keep playing? I'd chat around some hub zone NPCs and find that some of them even have voice acting.
I tell you, the shuttles are never on time.
You're headed out the gates, right? Unsure about where to go?
The clans don't support war, they support peace.
I love it.
But sometimes conflict is required before justice. The clans don't support war, they support peace. But sometimes conflict is required before justice can be done.
I chat to this NPC in the starting zone and answer a multiple choice questionnaire in the clunkiest dialogue box way possible, and they suggest I join the scientists, so I head over to the transport pod that she mentioned, but I can't use it because I need the Shadowlands expansion to go there. Imagine a new player being told, yes, your life of exciting scientific discovery awaits, just to be met with, but not without the paid expansion. Get out of here, you little rascal. Right out of the gate. This hologram then tells me to go and ask about daily missions at the holodeck tower, so I head on over. This sign says, shift-click me for info. It tells me to visit one of the faction main cities to get a daily mission. Either Old Athen for the clans, or Rome Blue for the Omnicorps. Because I'm neutral, I can choose either. But how do I get to either of these places? Well, I ask in the world chat, and that's no help. So I check the wiki, and that's no help either. But I find a transport map showing I can shuttle to Omni Trade, then Castle Galloway, then Rome. And I assume Rome Blue is going to be there. So I daisy chain myself over, but the game still says I'm in the wrong area. This is just Rome, not Rome Blue. So I just enjoy the vibes for a bit, go for a swim in the lake, enjoy the liminal energy of an empty main city, then head back to the main hub. I'm reading around and every guide, every player I can find to talk to is telling me to either buy a level 200 boost and join a guild to do the fun content, or grind the subway until level 25. That is my level grinding area right now. But how much would that level 200 boost cost? Well, if you're playing on Steam, £84, nearly $100. I even find a weapon shop but can't afford anything. I explore the hologram tower and enjoy the funky jazz they've got going on. finally, I just accept that I need to grind the subway. And while grinding the subway, let's just have a read of some reviews. Anarchy Online is an old game, but honestly, MMOs aren't what they used to be. This game gives those same feelings. You just have to give it a chance and look past the graphics. The depth is insane. I used to love this game. Great community, amazing atmosphere, several really original concepts, some of them are unsurpassed to this day. Hot swap twinking, anyone? But that was decades ago. Literally. It is a miracle that the game is still running today, but is it really worth it to revisit the nostalgia? Honestly, I don't think it is. The very first thing you see after you create your character and enter the world is a message to pay money for power leveling. Funcom's non-traditional fantasy MMORPGs like this one and Secret World Legends are just something else. Even after all this time, Anarchy Online is a captivating experience that somehow holds up despite its dated graphics and overall clunkiness. Perhaps like with the old Gothic, once you get into the rhythm of the game, you realize it's less clunky than it initially seems to be. The game and themes are basically transhumanism, space and technology. For example, if you like the Deus Ex series, you might like the vibe a lot. A great game past its prime. Miss it. I just can't recommend this game anymore. If you play it free. This game truly defined a genre and there is no other game like this one. If you're a game dev, perhaps pay for a month and see what you can learn from it on what to do and what not to do. It breaks my heart to leave this review this way. I've left the original review below. Man, I miss this game. There is really no MMORPG like Anarchy Online. Anarchy Online has so much depth and complexity. Even after 20 years, there are some systems people don't understand the exact math and science behind it. I've been in this subway for hours. I've killed a floating eye Lovecraftian enemy, a beggar, a vagabond. I found a long black trench coat and now look like I've tried to reshoot The Matrix with only $15 in a dream. I get this is a grindy, hardcore, system-heavy game, but when every guide and every player says new players should spend hours in the subway grinding, how do you expect to keep those new players when your game is opening with beating up homeless people as a drifting sci-fi murder hobo? I live in London. If I wanted to see drugged-out homeless people get into fights with mentally ill people in the subway, I'd just go and stand in the subway. So here's my problem. Games like Anarchy Online do have an audience. There are people out there who want deep systems and long grinds with archaic UI and clunky interfaces. Take board games. There are people who enjoy those super heavy Euro games with thousands of bits and hours of setup. Now they're not mainstream, but hey, if you and some mates have fun playing the campaign for North Africa, go ahead. There is a demand for these types of games. But the demand comes from a more old school MMO player base. The people who want this style of game to exist, but they aren't plentiful enough to fill up every game that we now have like this. And because newer players, or gamers new to the MMO genre as a whole, were brought in by games like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV or The Elder Scrolls Online, they find it hard to transition back to the gameplay of yesteryear. And it's just not cost effective to keep updating the onboarding for that new audience because it's not long-term effective, because Anarchy Online knows the audience it's going for is an older audience, people who like EverQuest and argue over Kirk versus Picard. It's Picard, by the way. I guess it's just sad to watch these kind of games age into obscurity because they were at one point a great virtual hangout space. They're just not a very good modern video game. And as the amount of virtual hangout spaces we have increases, the value of these games to the mainstream audience has decreased. This mugger constantly runs into the sloped wall while shooting at me, and I've realized if you cursor over your health bar, for some reason the final number is dropped onto a lower line. So it's not 105 out of 25, then 9. It should be 105 out of 259, but it isn't. And this isn't a horizontal spacing issue because the other bar does this too, and that's wider. Small issues like this not being fixed in a game this old is embarrassing. Anyone who tells me Anarchy Online is amazing has to answer the question, then why does it start with several hours of killing dogs in a subway? I discover you can't use first aid kits on yourself unless you're sitting down, and then discover if you switch weapons and keep moving, you don't do the run animation again and instead just glide over the floor like a fat Neo on a hoverboard late for a rehearsal of Starlight Express. I find some leather pants but can't put them on because my sense score isn't high enough. Then I beat up this striking worker. He drops his massive steel bar weapon called the Support Beam of Intolerance, but I can't equip it because of all the skills, my psychology skill is too low. It's a big bit of metal, but I must return to town and read up on how hot Sigmund Freud's mum was before I'm cultured enough to equip a bit of metal. I'm meant to be a martial artist. That's my class. Was the art sticking macaroni shapes to paper, then eating the glue? Then I level up and for some reason begin running really slowly. No idea why. I didn't change anything. This leads to a sideways, slow-mo, pregnant-looking Neo running into an abandoned subway tunnel, and then in true Steven Seagal fashion, after a short jog, I just die. This respawns me outside the sewer. This is a sci-fi game. I want to do sci-fi things, not play murder hobo in the subway. So I catch a shuttle, the planet of Tyr, accidentally attack a city guard and get killed instantly. Not going back here again. Back at the hub, I decide I'm just going to run west, leave the spaceport and journey into the open wilderness, and amazingly you can do that. The open world is massive. There's just nothing there. I will again stand by this game having the vibes though. The view from the top of the mountain, the ships in the sky, the spaceport behind me, the rolling hills. For the time it released, Anarchy Online was an absolute trailblazer. It's just not kept up with the times, and the science fiction of yesteryear is the normality of today. So I run into the forest outside town and get killed by a wolf. I'm not giving up quite yet. I really want to try a daily mission, so I check the shuttle port, and most of these need you to be in an organization to take them, or have the Alien Invasion or Lost Eden DLC. And if I can't reach Rome Blue, maybe I can reach Old Athen. This map shows a few linked connections, so I transport tube on over, daisy chaining myself again, and finally speak to a mission receptionist. They make me, and I'm not kidding, read the in-game terms and conditions of the faction I am joining, and I have to click I agree in the text box before heading to a side room to get the job. Yay for bureaucracy. So finally, what's my first mission? Maybe it's something sci-fi like steal a shuttlecraft, or find a laser gun, or bang a hot alien, but nope, it's go to the area just outside town and tidy up, kill enemies, and collect the trash they drop. You cannot promise me a deep, complex sci-fi adventure like no other, then start with 10 hours of homeless sewer fighting and then community cleanup. So how do I get to the war-torn valley to do this mission? That, dear viewer, is a great question, thanks for asking. In attempting to leave the city, I meet this new player guide, clearly an old tutorial which was never removed from the game. They give me a mechanical hint and again send me to kill some local bugs. By now I've killed so many bugs I qualify for citizenship and my desire to leave has intensified. The chat box lets me know that Brad Pitt has reached enlightenment, so well done Brad Pitt. Then I finally manage to leave the city and find the outside enemies. I take one down, get one of 6 items needed for my daily quest, then take on a more difficult guy and get buzzsawed to death. But because I forgot to change my respawn hub, I respawn all the way back at the main hub. I think it's fair to say that Anarchy Online is a relic of what it once was, a time when MMO games survived off their community, the social connections, the interpersonal politics of the players lending the overall appeal of the game. And you can see those systems which many years ago would have facilitated that. Guilds, amazing music, lovely ambience, a huge open world, lots of customization, a nice place to be. But a new player joining doesn't get that. They have to navigate with the game's systems primarily. Menus, travel, transport, trade skills, combat, implants, and even when I tried to talk to people, I was in the wrong faction to get help. Sci-fi is one of my favorite genres, but the strength of sci-fi is allowing an ordinary person to be placed into an extraordinary circumstance and seeing the truth of humanity excel and succeed. I don't even need flashy starship dogfights or crazy time travel plots. I actually prefer the older Star Trek episodes like Measure of a Man to any of the more modern films. But to have a sci-fi game and start with 15 hours of kill homeless people in a subway, then go into a forest and kill enemies to collect rubbish doesn't leave the best first impression in a sci-fi way. Anarchy Online sounds amazing. It has moments of immaculate vibes and deep, complex systems, but so would a rave on a sinking submarine. And unless you're with people you really, really like or were always here anyway, you're not going to want to spend a huge amount of time in either. So to end the review, I will award Anarchy Online immaculate vibes on a dying planet. Out of 10. Cheers for watching. Another massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep this channel alive. You can support from only £1 a month. Check the video description.
Okay, we're gonna end off here. Like, I can't do everything on stream. Yeah, I can't do everything on stream. So we're gonna end off here. Appreciate you guys for joining this very late night stream, but I don't remember my outro, so I'm just gonna say, you guys have a good night. Sleep tight. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, you're too late, Mr. Bot. Try coming a little earlier next time.